welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hello, everybody. This is Evelyn Hershkowitz, Reader Services Librarian at the Syosset Public Library. We're here at Turn the Page, our podcast. And today I have with us Tori Elderidge. Tori's book is called KAUA'I STORM. Kauai or Kauai? Kauai.
Oh, Kauai.
Kauai.
I mean, if you want to be really perfect on it.
KAUA'I STORM. It's about
Ranger Makalani Pahukula.
So I'm going to just talk a little bit about who Tori is. Tori Elderidge is the best-selling author of the Lily Wong mystery thriller series, which includes The Ninja Daughter, The Ninja's Blade, The Ninja Betrayed, and The Ninja's Oath, as well as two-time Anthony Award nominee, Lefty and McCavity Awards finalist, and winner of the 2021 Crimson Scribe Award for Best Book of the Year. Tori was born and raised in Honolulu of Hawaiian, Chinese, and Norwegian descent, where she graduated from with classmate President Barack Obama. Before writing, Tori performed as an actress, singer, and dancer on Broadway, television, and film in such shows as the original First National Company's Cats, as a Love Boat mermaid in the hit television series The Love Boat, and as the motion capture actress for the lead in the groundbreaking film Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. After living in New York and Los Angeles for more than 35 years, she now lives and writes from Portland, Oregon, where her children and grandchildren live. Her deep interest in world culture and religions has prompted her to visit 9 countries. She holds a 5th degree black belt in ninja martial arts and has taught classes and seminars across the U.S. Tori, that's a very impressive resume, let me tell you.
Well, thank you for that.
That's so great. Okay, so why don't you tell everybody what KAUA'I STORM is about?
Okay, so KAUA'I STORM is about my Ranger Makalani Pahukula. She's a national park ranger in Oregon, and she comes home to Kauai for her tutu, her grandmother's 85th birthday. And she finds her whole family in complete turmoil. As it turns out, 2 of her cousins have vanished, and the families are at each other's throats and blaming and all this kind of stuff. And Makalani is like, what's going on? So she feels, as the eldest daughter of the eldest son of her grandmother, on whose homestead she grew up, she feels this responsibility to find her cousins and restore harmony to her family. And on the way to doing this, she ends up in some really exciting adventures and all sorts of mystery that also is entangled with this murder that happened in the Kealia Forest Reserve. And so it's that kind of story. It's a deeply Hawaiian and exciting journey with lots of family relationships, multi-generational, multi-ethnic family kind of thing.
And just the scenery that you present in this book. I mean, Hawaii, I've been lucky enough to be there twice. So Hawaii is just the most magnificent paradise. I mean, it's just so gorgeous. So the scenery and everything that you present in the book is so nice. I mean, it says you grew up in Honolulu, but I'm sure you visited the other islands at times and know them well enough, or did you have to do a lot of research into it?
You know, both. So my mother was Hawaiian Chinese, and she was born in Wailuku, Maui. And our family, our ancestors before that came via Molokai, and before that, North Kohala on the Big Island. So we have all these islands, that are tied to my heritage. But I have to say, visiting wise, Kauai was always my favorite island. So when I knew I was finally ready to write about my homeland, that's where I wanted to begin my series. I wanted to begin it in Kauai. Oh, so you're asking me, so did I have to do any research? Yeah. In addition to my son and daughter-in-law were married there, so I was there recently. And before that, I was there as a child with a friend of mine, had some interesting adventures. But I also did a huge amount of research about the island, about the locations, and also the issues that Native Hawaiians are facing living in Kauai today.
What are some of the things that they're facing?
Oh, yeah. So, poverty is a big one, because of the tourism and because of the mainlanders and foreigners coming in, buying properties and having all of this money. They've priced out a lot of the locals. So a lot of the kama'aina living in Kauai can no longer afford to live there. Another huge issue that I look at is the sovereign land. So we have, back in the day, right, of Kamehameha and when we were a sovereign nation, Kamehameha IV divided the land in the Great Mahele. And he divided it between the ali'i, the royalty, between the government, and then also between the people. But at that time, it was so confusing, the way they presented it. And because the Hawaiians back then, it was always a feudal system. They lived on the land, they worked the land. There was no land ownership. They didn't need land ownership. And so they didn't understand that times were changing and that they would actually need to follow these very complicated steps to secure land that had been set aside for them. And so, as a result, many, many Hawaiians are without any land, without any home. And so we have something called the Hawaiian homelands that is supposed to be handing out and appointing these dollar per year 99 lease for homes and for homesteads. But they come with a lot of catches, and they make it very difficult. And so that's a huge part of this story, because the homestead where Makalani grew up, where her parents live, her aunties live, where her tutu is still farming, that is a Hawaiian homeland lease, and they are in jeopardy of losing it. And then, so those are two of the bigger, issues that are going along there.
I mean, Hawaii is very expensive.
Oh my. I can't afford to live there.
Right. To live there is just so, but the 2 times we were there, I said to my husband, isn't there something you can do here that we can make a living? Because it's just the most magnificent place. It really, really is.
Wondering if at some point in my life, I'll go back, like many of the Kanaka Maoli, the native Hawaiians that are now living away from Hawaii. I have this pull to come home. There's even a movement called Kanaka Come Home. And so this pull to come home was like a major draw to writing this story. And then I realized, wow, it's not only deeply personal, it's universal, right? At some point, almost all of us move away from home and at some point come back, either to visit, either to live, and it looks different, it feels different, your place and your family and the people you used to know and all those things. So it's a very universal theme, coming home.
Well, that's the theme of the book, because she's been away living in Oregon for so many years, and she comes home for her grandmother's birthday party and everything that happens. I'm not going to go into anything because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, she had the pull to come home for her grandma.
I had to do it. And oh my gosh, it's a birthday luau. So, so much family.
So much food.
And so much food. I love writing about food. There's food in all of my books. And you know why? Because all of my books are very cultural, right? So Lily Wong paid homage to the Chinese-Norwegian side of my heritage, and KAUA'I STORM pays homage to the Hawaiian, but also the other, because like many families in Hawaii, Makalani is Hapa Haole. Hapa Hawaiian. Well, she's also Hapa Haole. Hapa means part or half. So she's Hawaiian and, some kind of white, Irish actually, and Chinese. And her family marries into Japanese, into Portuguese, into, Filipino, into all these different cultures. So it's quite the melting pot. And so when I'm writing about cultures and when I'm writing about this book in particular, food is so important, because food is like a window into a culture, not only what we eat, but how we prepare it. And in the case of Makalani and her family homestead, how they grow it. And so that's all like really, really, is wonderful to write about. And it exemplifies a culture, I think.
I think she was making banana bread with macadamia nuts. Is that right?
Yeah. And there's the whole thing. I love doing dialogue scenes where there's some interesting action. And so there's this whole scene between Makalani's parents having this conversation while they have a grove of macadamia nut trees and other trees, while she is like, cracking these nuts and shelling them and pounding them and preparing all this stuff. And all the emotion comes out while she's dealing with this. Yeah, it's super fun. I liked it.
Now, there's different languages that are in the book. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it was really important for me to put Olelo Hawaii into this book. That's the native Hawaiian language. Okay. Keep in mind that, unlike many, other places in the United States, we were a nation. We were a people. We had a language. And that language for quite a while was banned. And so it was illegal to teach it as the primary language of education in schools. And, back in the day, Hawaii was one of the most literate nations in the world. And people don't realize that. But so right now we're in a big resurgence of language and trying to bring our language back into daily life, not only with Native Hawaiians, but with people who are living in Hawaii now. And so that's a huge push. So it was vitally important for me to integrate that language, not only in some of the dialogue, but even in the prose, because it's an important quality, and it's something that was very important for me personally to support. And I think it adds such depth and ambiance to the quality of the book. The other language is Hawaiian Pidgin English.
Okay.
And right, when you go to visit, right, you hear the kind Pidgin English all the time. Everybody like talk laddies. But here's the funny thing. People speak Pidgin to different degrees and in different ways. Mm-hmm. It's not like universal one way of speaking or writing Pidgin. So when I was hired to narrate my own audiobook.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was so fun because when I write, I actually speak out loud. Mm-hmm. And so all these characters in my brain, they have different voices and different ways of speaking their Pidgin. And so I was able to put that in as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about narrating your own audiobook. Did you do that with your other series also?
No. Okay, so here's the thing. Not many people may know. Publishing companies, audiobook publishing companies, do not like authors to narrate their own books. Yeah,
you almost have a fabulous voice, and you were an actress. So you're perfect for that.
Well, I think that, I had a history in acting on theater and acting television. I also did a lot of voiceovers, and I was a singer, so I was very familiar with recording studios. And also I have a familiarity with Olelo Hawaii and Pidgin English, which most narrators do not have. And so I think for all of those reasons, I put myself forward. And for all of those reasons, I got, this notice. Ooh, Tori, they want you to audition. And I had to audition, right? I had to do a sample narration.
You had to audition.
Yeah. I was so excited when I got the gig.
Well, I tried to get the audio. Unfortunately, it's still pending my approval. So I couldn't get to listen to any of it. So I read the book, but I do want to hear the audio also. So I'll wait. Hopefully,
I think you're going to love it.
They'll approve it. Because as soon as I saw that you were the one narrating it, I'm like, I got to listen to part of this.
Right. I think that makes it so special. And so it's certainly so special to me.
Yeah. Is that where you did your narration, right where you're sitting here? Or
Oh, no. I went to Digital One Studios. I had a director. I had an engineer, the whole bit. It was so cool.
Good for you. How long did it take you to narrate the book?
5 days. Actually, it took me like 4.5, but they reserved 5 days. And you know what? I practiced for 10 straight days to make sure that I was right on point. And I shared a lot of those chapters with my director in advance. So I got critiques and advice and everything. So by the time I was in the recording studio, the whole thing went so smooth.
Wow, good for you. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. And the audiobook is coming out the same day as the book.
it is. It
Everything will be
is.
out on May 20th.
Yeah, and it's available everywhere, but so far, the first chapter, the sample, is only up on the Brilliance Publishing site right now. It'll soon, come up the way they always do. But yeah, it's going to be everywhere. I hope you'll have it in your library.
Sure, the book will definitely be there, no doubt.
Yay!
As a matter of fact, that's what I was going to bring up to you. We just got Kirkus today, and as I'm looking through the Kirkus, there's the review for your book.
Yeah, isn't that exciting? I didn't know about that. I just happened on it and went, hey.
Yeah, I'm like, there's the review right here.
I love that. I love what they said about an atmospheric love letter with episodes of action and mystery. I thought, you guys nailed it.
Exactly. An atmospheric love letter to Hawaii's Garden Isle with episodes of action and mystery. Very
Yeah.
nice. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yep. That's where we read our reviews, and that's how we purchase our books, based on what the reviews are. So
Oh, that's wonderful. I was thrilled when I was recommended from the Los Angeles Times. As that was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
So
I have that review also. I have that.
oh my goodness, you really do have all the things.
Paula Woods at the Los Angeles Times named KAUA'I STORM as one of the 4 best mystery books to read right now.
Woohoo.
Yep, that's pretty nice. Very nice that you're getting all that. Are you going to be going on tour with this book? Are you going to be out there?
A little bit. I'm going to be sticking pretty much close to home, but I am doing 3 appearances. The first one is in my new hometown of Oregon. This will be in Beaverton, Oregon, at the Beaverton City Library, and that's a library, yay! And so that'll be May 17th at 2 p.m. And then I fly to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I have Poison Pen, in person and virtual live. So anybody can watch it. And that's May 18th at 2 p.m. And then I fly to Los Angeles, where I used to live, and I go to Book Soup. They're so wonderful there. And I have an in-person, in conversation with my dear friend, Naomi Hirahara. And that will be Tuesday, May 20th at 7 p.m. And then I come back to Oregon, where I'm living with my cute little grandchildren, Moana and Nahele, and keep writing and do lots of virtual events like this.
Very nice. That's beautiful. Did you always want to be an author? Was that like your main goal in life, was to become a writer?
No, it's so funny because so many of my friends, that's the case, right? With me from the time I was 16, I was dead set on performing on Broadway. I mean, I was all about acting, singing, dancing. That was my gig. Writing was what got me through high school and into Northwestern, probably. But my goal was to do that. So I did some Broadway musicals, and I moved out to LA. I did some television, did some film, did some voiceovers. And then I married a man who started producing films. He produced the 3 Equalizer films with Denzel Washington. And he, at that time, was just starting out and was getting tons of screenplays. And so I started reading all these screenplays. I love to read. I was like a habitual novel reader. So now I started reading screenplays. So I started writing them. And one of them was a semifinalist for the Academy Nicole Fellowship. And everybody who read it was like, wow, this should be a novel. So I expanded it into a novel. This is in the late 1990s. But I was so into raising my sons, and I had just discovered the martial arts. No idea I was going to become so obsessed with that. And it wasn't until 13 years later that I went back to writing.
Oh, wow.
And I picked up that book and I went, wow, this is great. but I need to learn my craft on it. I need to get better. And so I used that book to learn my craft. That book ended up being my fourth published novel, which was a standalone called Dance Among the Flames. It had changed many, 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 many times until that point. But yeah, so I call it my career for the second half century of my life, because I timed everything around my 50th birthday to stop teaching, training, and traveling around the country for the ninja martial arts, and to focus all my time, attention, and resources on becoming a novelist.
Wow, good for you. How long does
Thank
it
you.
take you to write a book like KAUA'I Storm? How long did that take?
Well, it can take me anywhere from, say, 9 months to a year and a half. Most of my books come out every year, so now I've kind of gotten into a way, right? A way of being. KAUA'I Storm kind of came in a pocket. So I wrote the book and then we shopped the book. So I was able to take whatever time I wanted to take. So I wrote some of it, and then I wrote all of the Ninja's Oath, and we published that. And then I went back to KAUA'I Storm. And then, of course, after it gets, picked up by a publisher, there's another wave of, editorial stuff that goes on. But if I have 9 months, I'm feeling pretty good about what I can turn into my editor.
Wonderful. And it's a series. So have you written the second one already?
I have. In
Oh, wow.
fact, I'm getting ready to send that to my editor.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Yeah, that one is set on the Big Island
Uh-huh.
and looks at the whole Paniolo culture. Sorry. Paniolo are the Hawaiian cowboys.
Oh.
So I thought that would be fascinating to write about and to research and to
I know
live in.
nothing about that.
Right? Nobody does. That's why I wanted to write about it.
Not a clue. I have no idea what that's even going to entail. So I look forward to that. And you were very thorough with your glossary in the back. Well, you have the characters, all the characters, and then you have the glossary with all the words. And you explain everything.
Yeah, it was an addition that I thought would be really neat, and I was really pleased that my editor was very excited about it. I also have a full genealogy of
Right.
Makalani's family at the
The very
beginning of
front
the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, genealogies are really important to me because in all my books, but especially in this one, I write about multi-generational, multi-ethnic families. And so it helps me to see them all laid out. And once I do that, I looked at it and I thought, wow, I think my readers would also be interested in this. But as I use Olelo Hawaii and Pidgin English in the book, I try and make sure that I do it in a contextual way that the reader is, understanding, either because I literally say, that's what this means, or because I fit it in such a contextual way that they can read it, hopefully, with ease. But it also occurred to me that readers might want to go back, and actually see some stuff. And so I did. I put all the Hawaiian language words, all the Pidgin words, phrases in the Hawaiian language, proverbs in the Hawaiian language, and locations in Kauai. So if anybody out there is planning on a trip to Kauai, it's really fun because you can look at those locations and go, I want to go to Pu'okila Lookout, or I want to go and, grab some acai bowl at Kalalea Juice Hale, or I want to get my stuffed ube malasadas over at, Passion Bakery or something. So I think it's super fun. So that's why I did it.
My husband loves the shaved ice.
Right. Ooh,
what he
we got
likes.
some good shave ice. I like the kind with zuki beans. Do you know what that is? The
Oh, I
red
don't.
beans, Japanese red beans. They put them at the bottom,
Wow.
and then a scoop of ice cream, and then the shave ice.
Oh, wow. No, don't know about that at all.
Oh yeah, that's so good. Or lihing mui on the bottom. Yeah, you can
Okay.
read about that in my book too.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you're a planner, that you outline this whole thing. Am I right?
Yeah. Although here's the funny thing. As I continue writing books, I'm finding that I don't plan quite the way I did before. It used to be, I use Scrivener, I have outlines, I have binders, I have chapter by chapter summaries for every chapter. Somewhere around the fourth Lily Wong book, I hit a wall and I went, I know kind of what happens in the second half of this book. I know where it's going to be, but I can't, I don't feel like I want to do chapter summaries. I don't want to be that exact. And so I didn't, and I let that one come. So when I went back to KAUA'I Storm, kind of the same thing happened. So I put in a lot of the chapters that I thought I believed and some summaries of what was going to happen and who was going to be there. But not all, not all, you know. And of course, characters say stuff, do stuff, and, you know, it makes you veer to the left or the right. And that's the fun of it. So,
Yeah, but with you know, when people go missing, you have to really know how they're going to be found, right? You can't.
well, you know, to some degree, yeah. Not, you know, not everybody. I got plenty of mystery author friends who don't even know who done it.
Oh, okay.
Until they've reached like 60,000 words in their book or 70,000 words. And all of a sudden they go, oh, it's that guy. I generally know who done it.
Okay.
I know who done it and I know why. It's just a question of how all that's going to kind of evolve. And of course, I love writing things that have a bunch of different elements that are going to intertwine in ways that the reader won't expect and will hopefully be very curious to know. You know, it's like, why is this author writing about this and that and this and why, how is this? And I like to leave glimmers and little clues as to, you know, how they might connect. And then, yeah, it's fun. It's fun when it all comes together.
Yeah, no, very good book. Thank you for writing it, and love the Hawaii aspect. Love.
Oh, mahalo. I appreciate that.
So,
And I hope you get back there soon.
I know, you too.
Go to Kauai and go visit some of those locations. You know what oh my gosh, you know what I started doing? And hopefully people will follow me on Instagram, writer.tori, or Facebook, but Instagram is easiest, or just go to my website, torieldridge.com. I have a readers page for book clubs, right? And I have book club KAUA'I Storm, and I've started populating it with all of these on location videos.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. I've also got a YouTube station, you know, Tori Elderidge, at Tori Elderidge. And so I've got so many more to post. I'm going to keep posting them all the way through the launch, taking you to all these wonderful locations, telling you some behind the scenes secrets and what we're looking at and stuff. It's been loads of fun.
That's so nice. Wow, wonderful. You're so enthusiastic about it. It's wonderful. It's so nice to speak with you. It really, really is. Really appreciate you coming and speaking with us. So you really should go over to Hawaii for this book.
You know, I'm hoping to go back this summer. And of course, if I do, then I'll try and set up some, you know, events and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely.
But mostly it would be to research for a possible third book. Okay. So I have to hone in my mind where I need to go.
I love Maui.
I was just there this summer. I went with my son's family and my grandkids. I have a 4-year-old daughter named Moana. Yes, named after Moana in the movie.
Okay.
And our grandbaby son, Nahele, that means forest. So we've got ocean and forest. Okay. Those are my grandkids. So yeah, we all went and had a Maui trip, and then my husband and I went to Kauai on our own, and that's when I took all these videos and photos to share with folks.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I'm definitely going to look into that.
Nice. Yeah. Your husband's going to be like, uh-oh, we got to go back.
Oh, he would love to go back. He's been there 3 times. He was there before we met, and then we went twice. So yeah, believe me, he would be more than happy to go back. We loved it there. Really, it's a beautiful place. So I
Oh,
just want to
wonderful.
thank you, Tori. Thanks so much for speaking to us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is a joy. I love talking to
Oh,
librarians, and
thank you. That's
this
so
it's
great.
fabulous.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to close this chapter of Turn the Page.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.